babes, my name is Key and I am here to teach you how to walk in your heels and look confident while doing it. So in my previous video, we talked about what type of heel to actually use when you're in dance class. And this is the one that I'm going to be using today. It has pointed in the front with a little bit of rounded tip, which these kind of heels take a little more, like if you see, a little more wear and tear right there. So because I'm always like on the tip of this shoe, this one has no zippers on the side, but it also has this like little stretchy material that I really like, and I'm going to be using these. The heel is a little more chunky. It's about 3 inches. So I'll be able to be a little more sturdy in these. And so because I figure if you're trying to or want to know how to actually walk in heels, then you, for the most part, are probably a beginner. So I wanted to also not only just teach you how to walk more confidently in your heels, but also I wanted to at least give you where to start. I do have a previous video to this that you may want to go check out that speaks about actually what type of pole, I'm sorry, not pole, you see poles in the background because I have a pole studio too, but what type of heels to dance in when you're doing your heels class. So if you want to check that one out, that one would be the one you would want to watch before this one. But this one is going to speak specifically on how to actually walk in the heels. Okay, so to start off, when you first start walking in heels, it will probably seem a little more difficult, probably like you're walking on a tightrope. But there's a few things to take into consideration when you're choosing the perfect heel and also how to walk in them. And I talked about this in the previous video as far as comfort. So you want to make sure that your shoes, you feel comfortable in your shoes, which I do. And as I come to stand up in these heels, and I step back, you can actually see my stance here. Right now I'm at hip width apart, which is probably not going to be the best pace that you want to be when you're walking. So when you're walking, you don't want to walk feet side by side. So I'll demonstrate what that looks like. Walking side by side is going to look like one foot walking side to side to side. Now, one thing to take note is when you're walking side by side, it does not feel comfortable, nor does it look comfortable. So we want to take a stance of walking kind of cross one foot over the other and crossing. So let's see what that looks like. So when I'm walking with the cross step, I'm actually not trying to switch. It's kind of like a natural thing that my body kind of does now because I've been walking in heels for a very long time, and actually I self-taught, well, I've taught myself how to actually walk in heels. I literally started out in 6-inch pole heels. And I would walk around the house, just so you know, and I have a carpeted area in my room, so I would walk around on the carpet in the heels, and I would get all the bloopers and fumbles and stumbles and all that stuff out the way. Because if somebody was filming that, and if I was filming it, I'm pretty sure they would have got a great laugh out of it. But I continued to walk until I started feeling comfortable walking in those heels in my room. So I would suggest that, number one, because when you first start to learn how to walk in heels, you want to practice. I would never, and I would not suggest, because I would not have done this myself, is going outside of my home trying to walk in heels for the first time like that, or coming into my studio and trying to actually take classes or teach classes in heels that I knew I weren't comfortable in. So you have to be comfortable. So I would say definitely take the time, and you want to break off some scheduled time. Even if you're like kind of doing chores around the house, put your heels on and walk around and do chores so you can get used to the balancing in those type of heels. For heels classes, again, you can do it you don't have to do like a 6 or 7 inch heel, but you can definitely do like a 3.5 or 4 inch heels are really great. Even 5 inch heels are great for heels class for me, but then you're stepping into a little more advanced level of a dancer, or have a lady that has actually been doing heels for a while, that type of heel wouldn't be a problem for. But for me, after I did walk around in my heels for a while, and I would say probably like a few weeks, I started feeling more and more comfortable. So that would be my suggestion. So when you're actually walking, you're actually taking the weight. So from the ball of your feet, you're taking that, and you're starting out in a placement, but as you go to step off, you want to make sure that you're transferring your weight to the front of your foot and stabilizing it. So you don't want to be walking heel toe. I actually saw a video where someone was talking about walking heel toe in heels. I'm going to show you what walking heels to toe looks like in heels. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of take a wild guess that you don't really like the way it looks to walk heel toe in your heels. It's not going to look great, and you're not going to feel great doing it. So please don't walk heel toe. It is not a natural movement for your heels. Instead, we want to try, when we do our cross step walk, we're going to step one foot forward, so kind of forward, and then the other foot crosses. So we're not trying to make an exaggerated cross. We're not trying to step over really big and make big, kind of like this type of movement. We're just taking the natural, how you walk when you're walking, but you're actually just slightly crossing. So I'll demonstrate how that looks again. All right, so you saw, I really was not trying to make these big, exaggerated movements, but what I was trying to do was allow my body to kind of naturally take the movement, crossing one in front of the other. It is such a pretty look as far as walking in heels. It's a very confident look when walking in heels. And then naturally, your body kind of moves into its natural progression of how it wants to kind of pull out its own sensuality. So for me, I have a kind of like a swaying walk, and I'm going to actually demonstrate how I actually walk. When I walk, I kind of use my hands. I place my hands in different places when I walk. I like the way it looks. I like the feel of my walk. But again, I've practiced my walk for several years, over a decade. So give yourself time. Whenever you're learning how to do something new, just remember, it's just like riding a bike. It's just like when you first started doing any type of activity, it was strange at first and you had to get used to doing it. And just like riding a bike, when you just couldn't just start riding a bike, or even on rollerblades or roller skates. I remember when I did roller skates, and then I thought, oh, you know, it'd be easy for me to do rollerblades. And I jumped in a pair of rollerblades, but the balance was definitely different than roller skates. So I had to definitely start to learn the learning curve for rollerblades. And in doing so, as I started to practice and practice and practice, I would go up and down my street, and I didn't care. I knew I would probably fall, but it would push me to work on it a lot more. And I was on, you know, like concrete. So to say all that, I started learning how to rollerblade as I kept going. So the same thing with heels, you have to give yourself time. Definitely practice at home. Definitely get all of your mistakes out the way. All of your shakiness. You might feel like a baby doll at first, or like you're walking on a tightrope. A lot of ladies do when they come into class. Before I actually show you my walk, I want to also show you what it looks like when you're trying to put one foot in front of the other, but literally it's here and not across. So let me show you what that looks like before I actually show you my walk, so I can make sure that when you are home practicing, that you are not actually taking your feet and going one exactly in front of the other, because that is going to get you off balance, and you're going to feel like you are definitely walking like you're on something, like a balance beam or something, and we definitely don't want to look that way either. All right, so now it is time to show you how I love to walk in my heels. All right, so in one of those movements, you can see where I kind of dragged my heels and kind of sickled my foot a little bit. I tend to do that. It's kind of like my own thing. Some heel classes will tell you definitely that they don't want you to sickle your feet, but my personal opinion is, in my particular program that I do, I set the rules for that particular program. And that means that my style of dance, and that's like with any program, rules are going to be set based on a teacher. But for me personally, I'm not asking anyone to sickle, but I kind of do it a little bit. And it's kind of a little bit of my personal style, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. And also, I know I have other ways to move a movement when I walk, so I'm okay with that. It's great for me. And also, you saw the second part where I walked forward. I was actually picking my foot up, so instead of like turning outward, I was actually just placing one in front of the other and allowing my weight to just transfer without the sickle drag. So I just want to make note of that. But perfectly fine for you to, if you feel great when you walk and you feel good about it. Dance should not feel like a forced element of someone else's just idea, and it shouldn't be just that solid idea that that's how things should definitely be. But in order to get comfortable, these are my tips to help you get comfortable walking in your heels and also have you looking great. So when you step out actually and come into a class, you will feel amazing already, because you've already started to build up the movement and the balance, and also trying different types of heels, because that's super important to know. When you are in different types of heels, you are going to have to balance in a different way. So you may have practiced in a certain heel at home, and then if you changed into another heel and you brought it into a place to dance or even walk along the street, you'll notice that the weight and as far as like the style of the shoe and different things about that shoe, you will feel uneasy because you haven't been using that particular shoe. So my suggestion would be, if you're going to use a particular heel at home to practice in, make sure you're using that heel when you come to class. And also take note, when I'm home, I'm dancing on either carpet or my floor in the kitchen, which is hardwood floors. But those hardwood floors are real hardwood floors. And here in my studio, this is a laminate. So this is a lot slick. It's slippery. And so when you put heels on top of that, you really got to engage the core. You really got to tighten up some things from the lower half up, because otherwise you're going to be slipping and sliding all over. But that's where the ab workout comes in. And so I want you to take note of that too. Depending on the surface that you're on, that's going to change as well how well you are working on the heels. So my suggestion always is, when I'm teaching the heels class, is that we do across the floor movements, so that we all can get used to working on the surface as well, because it's going to be a lot different from when you're at home as well. So I want you to take that into consideration. If you're practicing on carpet, that'll be a lot easier than when you come to practice on another surface. So just take note of that. Practice is going to get you where you need to be. Drill your walks and you will be walking fabulously and confident in no time. So I hope you enjoyed my video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. I'm so happy that you came to learn from me today. I am very humbled by it, and I look forward to seeing you either in class or out browsing the streets. So I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.